gonna cut this fan off because I'm hearing it in the background. Oh, that's definitely a lot better. Give me some light. Yeah, there you go. We good to go now. So hey, so look, tonight I have special guests on here tonight with me, all the way. I can't take that phone call right now. You called me back too late right now. Too late. I can't let this go by. No, not right now. Look, I don't need anything to happen and nothing to freeze up on me tonight. But look, tonight I have a special guest online tonight. My brother Dwight Muhammad, along with some. Are the brothers still there with you?
Yeah, they're here.
Oh man, look, it's about 11:30 over in the UK right now, but I'm definitely proud. Hey, there you go, kicking back, boy. You guys doing the damn thing. I'm just saying, getting that study in right there, baby. Look, man, I am so happy for you brothers right now. To be truthful, hey, what's up? I'm just okay. I'm just really happy for you brothers. I really am. I'm glad to really have you aboard. And tonight, what I want to have the discussion tonight is regarding your own personal experience over in the UK, being black, being Masons, the whole thing. Because I'm gonna say this, although it may seem like it's easy on both ends of the spectrums. Oh, they're Masons here, we're Masons there, but there's a difference in experiences, and I say that because of my conversation with other brothers, you know, from abroad. And what I want to hear from you brothers is your experience. Some of the brothers are the mechanics side, and some are Freemasons. How does that gel? You know, how does that work for you? Because a lot of brothers over here would never ever get the experience of really going over to England and visiting brothers over there. They'll never get it. Some of them will, some of them won't. But for the most part, most of them will not. So in having this conversation with us tonight, I have Wishful Master on the line tonight. He's from England. Brother Dwight Muhammad, along with Glenn Muhammad. Who else is there with you? Brother Winston Muhammad. So tonight we're going to hear from these brothers from across the waters. It's late their time, so I don't want to keep them up too late. And it looks like they're getting their study in. I don't know how true it is, but that's what it looks like. Brother got a book in his hand, you know. He sat back chilling, you know. Now my hey, my first question tonight, as I say greetings to everybody who's coming on tonight. Special guests are members from Mystic Lodge 619 from England. They're on live tonight, and we're going to have this conversation. So my first question to you is, how did your first meeting go? Knowing that it's kind of opened up a little bit there in England, how is that going? How did that first meeting go for you?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say greetings to my brothers over the pond, USA. It's a pleasure to be speaking. It's kind of late over our side, but I know it's early over your side.
Right.
Yeah. First of all, greetings to you all, brothers. And yes, our first meeting was a few weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? Last week. It felt like longer than that. A week. Okay, it was last week. It was a lot longer than for me, but yeah, 7 days ago we had our first meeting. It went, from my perspective, it went very, very smoothly because I knew the brothers that I'm working with. I've known the brothers for, let me see now, it's going to be over 20 years.
Wow.
I've known the brothers. I mean, some of them is 30 years. You know, so we know each other very, very well. So yeah, we kicked it off last Saturday. Man, we had the incense burning. We had
wait a minute, time out. In your lodge meeting. Now this is what I seen. You sent me a couple of pictures. Here's what I seen. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so you had the skull, right? You had I seen the incense. I didn't know if you had them burning or not. Seen the burning tapers, and you had the G there. Now I didn't see any holy book. Wait a minute. Yeah, you had 3 books. 3 books on the altar.
3 books on the altar.
Okay.
So we have, of course, we have the volume of sacred law, the Holy Bible. We have the square and compass on the Holy Bible, and then on the left we have the Holy Quran, and on the right we have the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or some rabbis call it the Book of the Coming Forth by Day.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that on the altar.
Now, do you open that? Now, when you open up, do you have a particular VSL open, or they're just there with the compass and square?
Do we have a particular opening?
Yeah. Do you have it open on a particular chapter?
Yes.
Okay.
It's open on Psalms 133.
Okay. I'm just asking only because here versus there, it may be some differences based on where you're at. So that's why I'm asking. So now here's what I know of you. You was once part of the Grand Lodge of England.
That's right. Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
The experience for myself was, it felt like I was just in a working man's club. The experience, it was basically a meeting of men, middle-aged men, who just dealt with business. There was no spirituality. It was a case of, you met up, you start off the lodge business.
Mm-hmm.
They might get a lecture in, but it would be a lecture to do with a famous mason who probably built one of the bridges in England, in the UK.
Okay.
It's a cultural thing. The actual lodge is style. It's all to do with Britain.
Mm-hmm.
So everything, they have like real ale nights.
Okay.
The lodge, after the lodge meeting. So it was all to do with the England in the 1800s.
Okay.
The theme nights. There was no cultural aspect to it, like which you could say was from the East. It was all to do with England and the monarchy.
England and the okay. Well, hey, it is what it is. Where it's at. So my next question is for any other brothers who are there. Being that and knowing that you are Muslims and in that connection, how does that coordinate with your Masonic journey? Being that some of the brothers were mechanics and still are mechanics.
Anybody will answer that?
Anybody? Glenn? I know Glenn probably got the answer to that. Or you can give it to Winston.
Greetings, brother.
Greetings, Brother Winston.
Brother Winston. Okay. Yes, sir. The best way I could answer that is there's a chapter in the Holy Quran, one of the volumes of sacred law that we have on our altar, entitled B. And it sort of alludes to the fact that the Quran is a compilation almost of, if you like, science, knowledge, wisdom from many different religious teachings, schools of philosophy, and it's taken the best part, just like how the bee itself takes the best parts of each plant and merge them together to make medicine, honey, which is used in medicine, which is a healing for mankind.
Right.
So if you take the best parts of each of these philosophies,
Mm-hmm.
you find really that they're one, and they can be used to purify, to raise, to spiritualize, to strengthen, to guide, and to give light to the candidate or the adept who knows how to go into those philosophies and take the best parts of them and apply it to the self, to build and heal yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So as a Muslim, as a real Muslim, not somebody who's just on a surface level. As a real Muslim, you should be able to, with the right guidance, go into any school of philosophy, any school of wisdom, any religion, and find unity with what you already believe, unity and accord and oneness with what you believe, from my understanding.
Okay. So how long have you been a mechanic, or are you still a mechanic?
Still a mechanic. Been a mechanic for maybe 2 years, possibly just under 3 years, maybe.
Okay. As a mechanic, do you see the? I mean, I can, but you're actually there. You're actually part of the mechanics. Do you see the connection between the? What type of connection do you see between the mechanics and Freemasonry?
As far as I've studied, as far as I've researched and heard also, the mechanics were Masons at one point.
Correct.
And there was just a split. They slightly modernized Freemasonry from what I know. They changed a few things. And there was a group of Masons who thought, well, we don't really want to go that way. We want to keep the spiritualities. We want to keep all the old teachings, the original teachings. We don't want to go the same way as you. So they split. And on a few occasions, from what I've studied, they were invited back to the Freemasonry. They basically refused. They thought, no, we're going to stick with what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they became mechanics. But we still have the same passwords. There's more degrees between the first degree and third degree Masonry. We actually have 6 degrees, which comprise Masonry's 3 degrees. So
one of the brothers put in the chat room that the mechanic is an off-brand of Freemasonry, basically. Now, me personally, I don't see it as an off-brand. I don't. For me, and from what I've read, I see it as Masonry, period, with additions. Because the additions, from what I gather, that you have the same degree work. Okay, you have the same degree work, same passwords, but within the degree work, there are certain other degrees. Before you become a Master Mason, there are other degrees between there.
Yes, sir.
And they deal more with colors. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. You got too many passwords for me. I'm gonna be honest with you. To be a mechanic.
It does get confusing. There's signs, there's passwords. I mean, this is 6 degrees, so it does get confusing. But you got 6.
You got 6 degrees before you become a Master Mason, and each one of those degrees got their own passwords, their own signs, their own everything.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to say I couldn't do it, but boy, that's a hell of a journey. I'm not going to lie.
The thing is, brother, we were raised, or I personally was raised in mechanism.
Oh, okay.
So it's all I knew. Yes, it's all I knew. Before Masonry, it's all I knew. I've read Masonic books, and I loved what it stood for. I loved what it represented. To me, it was just Islam. Islam and Masonry was just one and the same.
See, that's hard for a lot of people to get. That's hard for a lot of people to see that Islam and Freemasonry to be hand in hand. But I don't, I'm that guy. It doesn't bother me. I love it. I enjoy both sides.
Absolutely.
So is Glenn there?
Glenn's right there to my left.
Yeah, I want to hear what Glenn got to say. What's up there, brother Glenn? You all right? Hey, glad to have you aboard tonight, man. Glad to have you aboard. So my question to you, are you still a mechanic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you being a mechanic and now you're a Mason, right? So just as it was with Brother Winston and his experience as far as being a mechanic, how long you been a mechanic?
Same period. We were initiated at the same time.
Okay, what drew you into the mechanics?
What drew me into mechanics? Well, first of all, I mean, it was primarily because of my brother, Jurai. That he was the main inspiration, really. I mean, from back in like the early 2000s, when I found out that brother went into mechanism and masonry. At the start, because we've all laughed and joked about it. At the start, we were thinking to ourselves, "Why's brother going into this?" You know, because we still had that old mindset of all the superstition and the devil worship and all the madness and all this, that, and the other. But I thought to myself, you know what? This is a wise brother, so I'm going to hear him out because there's a reason why he's done this. So we got talking and whatever over a long period of time, and gave me some books to read and all that. Started with Manly P. Hall, and then other books, J.S.M. Ward, and before you know it, I've probably got more books studying masonry now than any other thing, because it's such a beautiful thing. The symbolism and everything about it, and I'm completely fascinated with it. And that's why I went into it, really, to get a taste of what was going on behind the scenes, you know, what all the fuss was about. And I'm glad I'm on this journey. It really is something else. Do you get what I mean?
I'm hearing you.
It's like, sorry, brother, carry on.
Okay, so my question to you, and I don't know, I think I got in contact with brother, yeah, I did, brother Dwight Muhammad. We started connecting first. My question to you is, what drew you? It can go to either one of you brothers. What drew you to this particular jurisdiction versus other jurisdictions versus what you know in regards to masonry?
Okay, I'll say a little piece on it, but I'll pass it on to the brothers. I don't want to take too much time. Basically, I was watching a few of your videos at first, and I loved your openness and your brotherhood about bringing everybody together, all the black organisations together to stop the bickering and stuff, and just to bring everyone together from everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, yes, sir. The true spirit of masonry. And I thought that these are the brothers I need to be with. These brothers get unity. They get it. So when brothers talking about joining up with John G. Jones and all that, and especially when you acknowledged our big brother, Brother Farrakhan.
Okay.
I thought, yes, these brothers get it, and they're fearless, and they're not afraid. They just get it.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, these the brothers I need to be with.
Well, I can appreciate that.
That's my experience.
All right. Let me hear from brother Dwight.
You're right.
You don't want to hear from me, bro.
Yes, I do, because let me tell you, when we first got together, when we first hooked up, the weirdest thing is that you had this library. I thought I had a nice little library, right? So one day you gonna call me up, Brother Hawkins. I want to share something with you. I was like, what you gotta share with me? Look at this. Your whole damn wall. I mean the whole wall, bro. You must have had like 6 shelves up, 6 shelves on both sides. I mean, you know, people like to say they got a man cave. I call it a study. I don't call my room where I go a cave. It's not a cave. It's a place where I go study. It's a study. And when you showed me that, I was like, wow. And then you just threw it in my face. You start pulling. You got this book. You got this book. You got this book. I was like, man, I got to get up on my game. I got to get up on my game. I'm not going to kid you. That's why I went with it.
That's my addiction. I'm a bibliophile.
Okay.
I love books. I love reading books and studying books, you know. So yeah, I have a vast collection of books, no doubt about that. But yeah, I mean, I share my knowledge with the brothers, and I advise them what books they should look into.
Okay.
You know, there's so much out there, But yeah, I started with the Nation of Islam, and in the Nation of Islam, it was a case of you got to go out there and study everything you can.
Right.
You know, so that's what got me into Masonry. Being a brother in the Nation of Islam, there was so much references to Masonry within the Nation of Islam. I thought, I gotta check this out.
So
check it out.
How long had you been into the Nation? How long have you been into the Nation?
Hooked up with the Nation in 1993.
Oh, that was during the time of the Million Man March, right?
Yeah, I was registered in 1995, in July 1995.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do they now? Is the minister allowed to come over? Or is he still not allowed to come over?
No, he's banned from the UK.
Really? For how long though?
They just banned him. That's it. They're indefinite. It's just a ban. They said that it's not conducive to the public good.
Really?
That's what they said. Yeah. That's what the government has said. Yeah. But that doesn't bother us because Minister Farrakhan is in the UK. Because we are the ones that actually we internalize what the minister's been teaching us. And we give it to the people anyway. So,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
That's what it's about. We internalize the teachings and we give it to the people. So
they're very receptive to the teachings and the whole thing.
Oh, brother, there was a time when the nation in England was getting out of. It was just they were so big. I mean, the government, they had to lock it down. We had to. They literally, what can I say? I would say
ban you.
They sent people in the nation to cause a lot of what can I say?
Disharmony.
Dissent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's the thing. A lot of people gotta get together, you know, and understand that there have been times, and there are still times where they would actually do that. They will plant people, they will bring people in, and they will put them in, and they will cause disharmony. That's not the first time, bro. They do it here all the time. We should be used to it. We should be like, okay, we know the game. And for those of us who do know that, should be able to really pull the coattails of those who don't know and say, look, this ain't the first time this ever happened to us. And it won't be the last, because people don't want to see us work together. They don't. I don't care what anybody say. People don't want to see other Black people work together and be successful. They don't. And I say that based on my life history, based on history I read, just the whole thing. When you put it all together, they don't want to see you be successful. If they did desire for you to be successful, they would stay out your business and let you be successful. But they don't do that. As soon as they see Black people, in my own opinion, come together to show unity amongst themselves, there's always one of us who they put in to come in and cause that distinction. And we know that. But we're going to have to be smart enough and cunning enough to realize that, to understand, look, no, we ain't having that. My relationship with you is my relationship with you to build. I don't have time for someone to come in and say, well, you know what he said. I'm man enough to go ask you if you said that or not, and bring him along with me. If you said that he said this, I'm bringing you along with me. But too many times we allow other people to come in and disturb the harmony that we have. And this is what I like about our connection, because although we may have our rules and our regulations, we want you to enjoy Freemasonry. And the thing is the way you had everything set up, and I got the call, they was like, did you see how you had everything set up? I was like, no, I had to go back and look, you know, and we said here, we had our meeting last night. We was like, hey, we like that. We're going to put the skull on the on the altar and do all of that. Now we do in our jurisdiction, we do the incense, we do that. We do the ancestry prayer. There's some things we do that's not necessarily in the ritual, but it's beneficiary for us because it looks like us, it feels like us. And in saying that, it's a beautiful thing. And that's what I get a kick out of. Some people may look at it differently, but I get a huge kick out of that.
Definitely.
I have a brother on here.
Culture, you know, adapt to yourself. You gotta adapt it to your culture, to yourself.
You really do. You really, really do. Because if you don't, who will? You know, if you don't do for yourself, who's going to come and save you? And that's the thing I try to tell a lot of brothers. I would prefer if I'm gonna do anything for anybody, first and foremost, they're gonna look like me. And it's no kick against anyone else. I'm just saying, before I help anybody else come up, that person, I gotta help my own up, and then together we can do something for somebody else. But I can't come get you. And then for the past 450 some years, whatever years, you've been kicking my butt, but I'm coming to get you to help you come up, and I'm still looking at this man down. I can't do that. I mean, that's me. Everybody isn't me. Everybody isn't you, but we must find that commonality within the borders of Freemasonry, which is a great fraternity. Anybody knows me and hung around me knows, man, I get a kick out of this thing.
Oh, we can see that,
brother, I get a kick out of it, bro. It's because of the people I've met along this journey. Really. And what's going to really be crazy, I may have to get the shot. I'm just saying, in order to come see you, that may be the only exception to the rule. I'm just being honest. You know, I'm just saying. If they said, look,
I would hold out a bit longer. I won't be in a rush to get there.
Oh my God.
Let's just see what happens. Give it a couple more years,
brother. he said, no, brother Hawkins. Look, man, it ain't that serious right now, bro. You're gonna hold off for a minute.
You better hold on.
Oh my God. Yeah, you know, I'm talking. I mean, bro, it's tough, man. The field I work in, they damn near about to like, look, you gonna either take it or go home. I'm like, oh my God. So there's some other things. There's some other avenues though. Yeah, wow. It's getting crazy, bro. It's getting crazy. But you know what? My ancestors have not let me down yet. My ancestors have not let me down yet. And so I'm going to take hey, it is what it is. I'm going to keep living. I'm going to keep living. Trust that. It ain't going to be like, it ain't going to be no easy cake, you know. It ain't going to be no easy cake. That's for real. Brother Charles says, I won't allow them to force that on me. Bruh, I agree. I wouldn't either. But I live in California right now, and the shit is crazy. It just... oh my goodness, it's this man. I'm like, you know, I would say this today, even at my job, we had people out there protesting. It was like 100 people out there protesting today about my job. I was like, oh my God. It was like, you can't force nobody to take the shot, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh man. Let's see, Joshua, what's
about your welfare, brother.
Man?
Concerned about your welfare.
Yeah, I'm worried about my welfare too. Trust me. Let me see. Hold on. It said, "What's up, brother Tony? This is Josh. What's up, Josh? Much love from LA. The Latino people, black and brown, unite. Text me sometime, brother Josh. You just hit me up, bro. I'm gonna text you back. I got you. I got you, brother Josh. Just to let you know, he's a new guy to Freemasonry, right? Brother Josh, I think he became a member of the Grand Lodge of California. You know, and I told him, whatever you do, yes, I said, whatever you do, enjoy Masonry. That's what you do. When you become a Mason, you need to enjoy it. You don't need to let people come in and cause and disrupt your harmony because you talk to this person or that person. You need to enjoy Masonry.
Right.
You know, that's me. And by the way, you told me you was 4 hours from home. Remember when I was talking to you on the phone? I said, what time you gonna get home? He said, bro, I'm 4 hours from home. I'm like, what?
4 hours. I'll be going home in another 4 hours. But when I'm fellowshipping with the brothers, we're here till sometimes about 3 in the morning.
Okay, so we was here at my home last night after the lodge meeting. We came to my home and we was here to like 2:30. We was here at my home to 2 in the morning. I had to go to work at 5.
Okay.
Yeah. We should have called you. You was up. We should have called you. You was up, man.
I think last Saturday I got in from about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So have the.
When you meet the brothers, it just goes on and on.
It does. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It is.
So tell me this. Now have the other lodges in England starting to meet?
Yes, from definitely the Grand Lodge of England is starting to meet. I know that the Mechanics haven't started meeting yet.
Okay. Now the Mechanics do have a district in LA. They do have a group of mechanics in LA. That's why I was first introduced to him. And I was like, the Mechanics? And the brother hit me up. He dabbed me up, brought me. I was like, whoa. It messed me up. But then once I started to talk to him and understand the mechanics and what it was all about, it was totally different. I really enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah, what you find in the Mechanics, now obviously there is 6 degrees from the first to the, within those 6 degrees, from a Mason's point of, I can tell you that they have, which is linked to the, I would say that it's an add-on to the Fellowcraft degree. You do the mark master within the Mechanics.
Oh, you do?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They give you the wages. You do everything with the keystone. You do all of that within the Mechanics. That is in with the Fellowcraft degree.
So what I need to do? So what I need to do is to send you my marking, huh?
Yes, brother.
I need to do like John Wick. I need to send you my. There you go. I need to send you my marking. Yes, indeed. Yes. I'm glad I don't have the camera pointed at you while you be throwing up them signs and stuff. Oh, for real. That's for real. What are you preparing to do as you fast approaches upon symbolism in its teachings? Okay, so brother Malcolm Prophet, his question is, what are you preparing to do as you fast up, as you feast upon the symbolism in his teachings? I don't get it, but that's the question. I would imagine that he's saying,
what I can say to that, brother, is that we're all about symbolism. You know, that's what we do. We crack the symbols of, you know, and you basically what those symbols represent. You have to internalize what it represents.
okay.
You know, and that's what we do. You know, that's the best way I can answer that. We're all about the symbolism. Brothers, we feast on the symbolism.
Oh,
What is Masonry? They say what is a peculiar system of morality veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols.
Yes, absolutely.
So, you know, and that's what we have to do. Understand the symbols. That's the key to understanding who and what you are.
Mm-hmm. Let me adjust this camera one more time. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So my brother Winston still hanging out?
Oh, he's still hanging out.
Oh, brother, he ain't fell asleep yet. That's good. So, brother Winston.
There you go.
Hey.
Yes,
so
yes,
what do you expect to get out of this journey? What is your two things? First of all, what is your expectations from this jurisdiction to you as a brother? That's number one. Number two is, what do you expect to get out of this journey as a Mason? Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Deep. First and foremost, what do I expect to get from you as a jurisdiction? To be honest, brother, I definitely wouldn't have just become a part of any Masonic jurisdiction, any Masonic order, if I didn't feel there was an element of real brotherhood,
Okay.
real love, real harmony, peace, real guidance, and it wasn't really black. Really focused on, our needs.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes I think people get too caught up in the rhetoric as opposed to the need that we have as black people. I love the fact that your jurisdiction, the John G. Jones Lodge, identifies and understands what we as a people need to get us out of this hell that we're in. We're in hell. We're in hell. And we need some unity. We need to organize. We need to build. We need to, link and join our resources. I mean, you brothers go out into the desert, brother.
Yeah.
You're really about this life. You're really about this life, brother. You brothers are real from what I can see. I'm inspired. I'm absolutely inspired. So guidance, light, truth, harmony, brotherhood, fellowship, everything that's on offer.
All right.
Blackness, everything.
You said blackness, everything.
Absolutely everything.
So hey, pass it over to brother Glenn. I got a question for him.
Yes, sir.
Peace. Brother Glenn, so my question to you is going to be totally like off the wall, all right? I just want you to know that, so be ready. So,
Okay.
What about those female Masons over in England?
Female Freemasons?
Yes.
Okay. Like, as in...
Are they vocal? Are they present? Are they out? Are they active?
Yeah, man. I mean, in Mechanism, the female chapters. I went into one of their lodges.
No. Hold on. I said the female Freemasons, not on the Mechanics. Yes, not on the mechanic side. The female Freemasons. They're where you're at.
Well, I'm not too clued up on the female Freemason side of it. I think Brother Joe will be able to tell you more about that.
Okay.
Because I know of the co-masonry that has female Freemasons in there.
Okay. Do you have a lot of co-masons over there?
Pardon?
Do you have a lot of co-masonry lodges there?
Yeah, there's a few.
Okay.
Yeah. Brother wants to speak to you on that.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Greetings, brother.
Greetings.
You know about the female Masons?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's quite a few of them. Let me see now. I was a member of co-masonry at some stage.
Okay.
I was a member of Salutation Lodge, which was men and women. Yeah, it's very spiritual, very, very spiritual. They have the balance there because they got the sisters. They actually call themselves brothers, and they are, the females. They address each other as brothers.
Now I got one question for you. I got one question, and I know the brothers here on the state side want to hear this question. The raising part, when they get raised,
right?
Talk to me.
Just like the brothers get raised.
Okay.
They dress a little different.
Okay.
They have to keep their dignity.
Now you know how we do it. I'm just saying,
They have to keep their dignity, so they have like vests, like a vest on.
Okay.
It's a vest, but they show you got the necklines kind of low.
Got it. Okay.
But they keep their dignity. Their arms are exposed,
Okay.
And just the neckline is kind of low.
Yeah, because the brothers wants to know how is this happening, man. I mean, they were especially in the fellowcraft inter-apprentice degree. You gotta.
Yeah, it's just they just dress a little bit. They keep that dignity.
Right. Okay. Well, see, I'm asking questions that I would imagine that other individuals want to know. They will want to ask these questions, but I'm not saying. I hit the thumbs up button for me, please. I appreciate it. I don't see a lot of people asking the question, but I know it's out there. So I'm just trying to get it out there. So
there's a group of female Mason only lodges. The Honorable Fraternity of Freemasonry for Women. They meet. Their meeting house is the Grand Lodge of England. They meet in there. So, a lot of people will call them not Masons, but they are recognized as regular by the Grand Lodge of England.
Hold on. That's controversial right there, brother. You might need to back. Wait. Let's run that back. I want to make sure I heard what you said. You said that there's a brotherhood of ladies who are Masons who meet at the Grand Lodge of England's building. I'm cool with that. Okay, because I'm okay. Next, you're saying that the Grand Lodge of England consider them to be regular.
They are backed by the Grand Lodge of England. They don't shout about it, but they do back them 100%.
Oh, so y'all heard that, right? You heard that from somebody who lives there. He said that the Grand Lodge of England.
I'm living in England.
He said, I need to say that, bro. I need for them to hear that you said a person who actually lives there said, look, the Grand Lodge of England 100% backs the female Masons there. They consider them to be regular. I'm just saying that I'm hearing it just like you hearing it. What are the names of the mechanics in other houses?
In other houses?
Yes, like, okay, so between the inner apprentice and you becoming a master mason, within the confines, what are the names of the other degrees before you become a Master Mason?
Okay. So in the mechanics, you start off as a pink degree. Yeah.
So a pink degree would be my EA degree.
Say that again, brother?
Your pink degree would be my EA degree. Into apprentice.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
What's the next degree?
And then you go to scarlet degree.
Scarlet, okay.
Yeah. And then you go to what they call green degree.
Green, okay.
And then you got the blue degree.
Blue degree, okay.
And then you got the fifth one, which is the red knight degree.
Red Knight.
Yeah, and then the what you call the masters will be this number 6 is the white degree.
That would be the Master Mason degree.
That's right.
So the scarlet, the green, the blue, and the red Knight, that would be considered my fellowcraft.
Fellowcraft, also you got the mark degree in there.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Wow. That is interesting.
That's right. And then you go on after the white degree masters, you get past masters, then you get your Sir Knight, and then you get the Covenant degree, and then you get the Royal Blue degree.
The Royal Blue. So in other words, what I'm hearing you say is that after you have gotten your white degree, which is your Master Mason degree, there are other degrees in the appending bodies that you can get also.
That's right. It goes all the way up. You go up to you got your Royal Arch degree in there.
Okay.
And then you go on to the priestly orders.
Oh, okay.
And then it accumulates up to your past eminent commander.
That will be considered York Rite for us.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And then after the past eminent commander, you will go into the past Grand Master degree. Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk offline about that past Grand Master degree, because that may be some I wouldn't mind looking at. A past Grand Master's degree.
Brother, you're gonna have to speak to a past Grand Master. And then the last one, I know that's the last one, but you can't go any further, they're called the Pro-Counselors.
The Pro-Counselors. Is that anything like the Supreme Council for us when you get your 33rd?
Yeah, that's going to be the equivalent of the Supreme Council.
Pro-Counselor.
And then that's it. That's the 16. It's basically you got 16 degrees in mechanism.
Wow, okay. That's interesting. Yes, Brother Brendan Lewis, they have a past Grand Master's degree. I said the same thing. I'm interested. I ain't gonna lie.
The mechanics. I mean, you see any mechanics library, they're all Masonic books.
Okay.
They're all Masonic books, Masonic authors, because you won't find no mechanics authors out there. They're all Masonic.
Okay. So what I'm understanding and listening is that within the confines of the mechanics, although it has this part of Freemasonry in it, the degrees are just placed differently.
That's right.
Within the mechanics.
That's right.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Now that's interesting. That is really, really interesting. Brandon, UGLA standard rights is the rights of illumination. You know anything about the rights of illumination?
The rights of illumination. No.
Emmanuelation, I think it's illumination though. It's EMULATION.
Emulation.
Emulation. Thank you.
Yeah, they're ritual. That's the ritual.
Oh, that's the ritual?
Emulation. The ritual that UGLA use is the emulation ritual. That's what it means. Yeah, the emulation ritual book. It's a blue book, brother. Yeah.
It's a blue book, huh? It's a blue book. When I first got that book, I was like, oh, it's it's interesting. Some things are very similar between what's done here in the States, and some things are not. You know.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of it's similar because they modified things. You see.
Right.
That's what the UGLE have done. They've modified some of the ritual work. They've streamlined some of it. I would say streamlined.
Yes, I think that's Manuel Nunez. He said, but it's not York Rite Blue Lodge. That's a different set of degrees. I don't know if it's listening to you, brother Dwight. The degrees are York Rite degrees, but in different places. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's right. Yes.
Okay, so
you're talking about mechanics now.
Correct.
You're talking about that. Yes.
Okay. So, Brother Moon, yeah. Okay. Trust me, I have the degrees. Oh, so Manuel Nunez, are you a mechanic? That would be my questions to you. That's, I mean, you saying, I'm just.
I thought he was speaking about the UGLE degrees.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think he's speaking about.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find out if he's a. Oh, you're talking about the somebody. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's talking about yes, he is. You're absolutely right.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and he did say that he's a mechanic also. And he's talking about so you are a mechanic and a member. Okay. Oh, they are not York Rite. They are rites of emblations. Okay. A mechanic. All right. Okay. I was trying to follow what he was saying and what he was asking. So from what I'm gathering, Brother Manuel Nunez, he is also a Mason and he's also a mechanic. Brother, I have the book in the rituals of the UGLE rites of emulation. Emulation. Thank you. Oh, okay. He said no. Okay. You're not a mechanic. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you, Brother Lewis. I got it. I was trying to follow what he was saying in that. He put LOL. Yeah. But definitely in this, I really enjoyed the conversation tonight, man. And we're going to have to do this one again. I mean, because I was trying to. Oh yeah, we go look. This ain't gonna. If we got to get down like this is how it has to be. And I'll tell you what. When we have grand session in October, it's gonna be. Let me see. We're gonna start off at 9 in the morning our time, so it'll be 8 o'clock your time, p.m.
Right. Okay.
So what we'll do, I don't know your work schedule, but on that Friday and that Saturday, we'll try to reach you to bring you in so you can be in attendance for session.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to try to use the. Brother Charles, you ain't trying to come out here to California. But anyway. but anyway, certainly we'll try to make that happen. We have some brothers over in Trinidad. We're going to do the same for them also, so they can participate that way too. And I think having it done that way, because Masonry is changing. It's changing, and in this avenue of using the Zoom and other things that are out there is going to really bridge that gap, and it's going to bring those who want to work together closer together.
Yes, I agree.
And it's going to be through this avenue that we have where we're going to actually build that bridge. You know, that's how we're going to have to do it. Hit LA on my way to San Diego. Okay. I mean, if you're going to do that, if you're going to come to San Diego on your way to LA or vice versa, yeah, you're welcome. You have family. I'm talking to this other brother. He's in the chat talking about he got family in California. I'm like, okay, come on out. Have fun with us. We'd love to have you. Like I tell everybody, we do things a little different. And to see it is to believe it. You know, because you're not going to just go get a ritual, pop it open. So, oh, y'all do it like this. Yeah, we do. But with these additions, we're going to definitely have you scratching your head like, bruh, that's y'all do things. Yeah, bruh. Yeah, we got the incense going, the blessings, all of that. You know, we got it all smoked up. For real. Brother Levi today, he gonna be all spiritual cleansed, bro. He gonna be like, whoa, hallelujah. Yeah, for real. And I'm gonna tell you this. My first experience with female Masons, I went to their inaugural ceremony some years ago. You're right. They are very spiritual, bro. And they take it seriously. I mean, there's no laughing, there's no cracking jokes, and they don't have a book in hand. They don't. And they are serious about their works. And that was that was my first time being introduced to having the incense actually burning, along with the blessing of the lodge. Come out, you know, I was like, that is nice, you know. And when I talked to my grandmaster, that was something that they was already working on. I just so happened to stumble upon it from a female point of view, which I would tell you was very beautiful. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I didn't enjoy the inaugural ceremonies or anything less. It was beautiful. It was definitely that. And you being once part of a co-ed Freemasonry, you said that there was balance there.
Oh, definitely. There's definitely balance there. You know, the females, they bring a different energy to the lodge, and it's a complementary energy. It complements your energy as a man, and that's what it's about. It's about that balance. So we're all striving for that balance.
So do you think females were a part of Mason long before the establishment of what we know Masonry to be today?
Well, when you look in history, to ancient history, which we could call the mystery systems, there were females in there.
Okay.
No doubt.
Brother Manuel Nunez says yes, they were. Women were initiated in the lodge. You know, I mean, like I said, my first experience was I had like a wow moment, and I've been intrigued with females Freemasonry since then because of what I'm hearing you say is that they bring a balance to the lodge because of their energy. So, and that's another thing. Most lodges over here, 90% of the Masonic lodges over here on stateside do not deal real heavily into the esoteric anything. They don't. Now, as far as this jurisdiction is concerned, oh yeah, we eat that for breakfast. That's the stuff that keeps me energized. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I find out new stuff and I introduce it to the organization and it's accepted or denied, that's the energy part for me. That keeps me like, yeah, man, I like that. Let's see, can we add that? Where can we do this at? That sort of thing. Puts a little twist on different things. So it doesn't stay the same because we know that Freemasonry is a progressive science. Anything that's progressive doesn't stay the same. And Freemasonry is one of those things that is not going to stay the same. They have a point to prove, so they know Oh yeah, they do. I think some female Masons do have a point to prove. And somebody asked me a while ago, Brother Dwight, if a female Mason held me, would I stop? I said I would.
Of course you would, bro.
That's me. And you said, of course you would, brother. But everybody probably like, no way.
You're a real Mason, brother.
Look, I know what I said. I said I would obey all due signs.
Yeah.
That's what I said. It didn't have a gender specific in there. So just throw that out there a little bit. You know, that's how I get it. Brother Nunez, hold on. Let me see what you got. I will get you the website in Spanish. Okay. It has the lodges mentioned. Okay. I'm just reading some of the stuff that's coming up.
Okay.
York Lodge number 236 mentioned the initiation of women. Oh, 1693. Okay, you, Brother Nunez, putting this, Manuel Nunez, he's definitely putting it out there. He wants you to know, look, man, they wrote the women's out of Masonry just like they wrote them out of the Bible. I'll be like, jeez, they just don't want the women in there. They want their bodies, but they don't want their mind. But look, hey, I appreciate you hanging on with me for about an hour. It should be about 12:30 your time or 12 o'clock, something like that.
Yes, yeah, it's nearly 15 minutes past. Yeah, 15 minutes past 12.
Okay, so look, I appreciate you, bro. I truly love you. I thank you and the brothers for coming on and enjoying this fellowship. Brother Winston, Brother Glenn, definitely my regards, bro. Peace be upon you. And look, you guys get some rest, get some sleep. And whatever you do, do it in decently in order.
Keep your lights on and stay out the bushes in front.
Yeah, definitely keep your light on and stay out the bushes. All right?
Okay, brother.
I'll talk to you later. Peace. All right. So look, those are my brothers from over the waters, from over the ponds. Man, I had a great time with them tonight. It was good to actually have that conversation with them. It was a good conversation. And that's what we need sometimes. We need that conversation where you're able to come in and talk with various brothers from across the waters and hear about their experience as far as what masonry is on that side of the pond versus over here. So I hope, as always, that you've gotten some out of this tonight. I hope that you've enjoyed the conversation, and we're going to go from there. So hopefully one day I'll be personally going over to fellowship with them. Depends on this coronavirus, man. But until then, I'm actually pleasantly surprised by the members of the UGLE. I don't know why, but Brother Manuel, why would you be surprised by the members of the UGLE? That would be that's an interesting thing. So that you were on. Stay well. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know me, brother. Yeah, but I'm just saying, you was like, I'm surprised by the UGLE, but why would you even be surprised by them? I mean, I'm saying that only because of what I've read in regards to the UGLE, and from other people who have been there and experienced it. I'm like, hey, you know, when you really get into Freemasonry, it takes you down some rabbit holes, and a lot of people can't stand to go down a rabbit hole. That's the truth. I don't trust regular Freemasonry. Oh my God, brother. Boy. But wait, hey, I'll tell you what, brother. I got a few more minutes here. Brother Manuel, give me a call. Hold on, I'm gonna put my number up here. Hold on. No, call this number right here. Call this number right here, bro. I got a little bit more time. Give me a call on that number right there. Cause you got me rolling. Oh no, here we go. You doggone Skippy, here we go. Bring it on, bro. Bring that energy on right now, cause you ain't right. You ain't right at all. Bring that energy. Oh man. Nah, yeah, it's finna get kind of crazy now, cause that brother got some energy. Bring that energy. Oh, here we go. What you got for me, man? Don't be playing with my emotions.
How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. It's good to hear your voice.
Likewise, man. Likewise. So that popped up. I was like, that's the garage number 619. I was like, A.M. What's going on here? So
Hey,
I poked my head up.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. I mean, a lot of people thought that we had lost our minds when they was like, "You guys really got a lodge working under your jurisdiction in England?" Yeah, we do.
So, yeah, when I said I was supposed to surprised because, I mean, the UGLE has done its best to like bury so much of the history for so long, you know, and that's basically passed down to the U.S. and the Americans are just, you know, it's like just rampant ignorance here. You know, I mean, like from the racial segregation to the, you know, trying to tell people that any legitimate Masonic institution that doesn't happen to be a part of their little organization happens to be quote unquote illegitimate, which is actually inaccurate. It's completely wrong. It's not true. You can call it irregular in the sense that it is irregular toward irregularity, but it is not illegitimate. I mean, these alternate orders of Freemasonry have been around since the 1700s, you know, and in many nations they make up the majority of the Freemasonry there, and regular Freemasonry is a minority in most of the countries of continental Europe, most of the nations of Latin America, most of Africa, most of the Caribbean. Regular Freemasonry is a minority, it's not a majority. And the history of it has been buried by the UGLE, the idea that women in Freemasonry has been depicted as this new idea that came about because the French introduced it, and that's the road. Yeah, it's not true. Women were originally initiated in the operative Masonic lodges, this is not even just the regular Masonic lodges, this is going back to operative Freemasonry. You would think that it would be only men because, men have to be big and strong and, you know, move the rocks and everything and do the building materials and all that, right? But women were actually initiated side by side with the men. There's actually evidence of this. The problem is you can't find it in English because they've done such a great job of burying the history. You have to look for these sources in Spanish and in French. That's where you're going to find them. There's a really, really great magazine in Spanish. I'm having a brain fart right now. So I'm trying to think of the name of it, but I'll find it. I've got copies of some of their editions, and they actually have manuals printed with the Constitution, the previous rules and regulations of Freemasonry before Anderson's constitutions.
Really?
Yeah. So they are available. They're in Spanish. They're available, but I mean, you can get. I'm sure you live in California. Well, you can find somebody who speaks Spanish. Try and watch. I'm sure. You know. So I'll get it for you. I'll get that. The name of that magazine. It's actually it's a publishing house, not really a magazine. It's a publishing house in Spain, and they publish an amazing magazine on Freemasonry, and it's mostly run by members of the progressive Masonic orders in Europe. So you see a very balanced and legitimate understanding. You do have occasionally brothers from the Grand Lodge of Spain, you know, the regular Grand Lodge, the one tied to the UGLE.
Okay.
But because they don't have the control, you actually have a
a very open understanding. So you've got editions that talk about being gender right. You've got editions that talk about women in Freemasonry. You've got editions that talk about all kinds of stuff. And it's an amazing magazine. But they also have published books and manuals. Like you've got published manuals with the previous constitutions before Anderson's constitutions. People act like Anderson's constitution was like the first real kind of set of rules in Freemasonry and in this country. Oh, you know, because Anderson's constitution is because the old charges. And man, you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. You know, people talk about the old charges and this and that. And then, you know, and you read these commentaries, more so in the American Grand Lodges than written, actually, to be honest, because the UGLE, there's to say that they're recognized as an exaggeration, because none of these women in these feminine orders, I think there are two really, really big feminine orders in Great Britain, and they have quite a number of women. They have, and I think they've got like a couple hundred lodges. At least one of these orders, they're pretty big, but they are considered regular in all but one thing, and that one thing is that, of course, they're not male in gender. So in all other things, they're considered regular in practice, in the sense that they not discuss politics or religion in lodge. They're not like my order, right? My order is like, we're completely irregular. We're very proudly irregular, but they do not discuss politics and religion in lodge. They demand, you know, they worship a supreme being, et cetera, right? All of these quote unquote regularities, right? They follow all that. The only irregularity, quote unquote, is that they're women. But that was not an irregularity until Anderson came along and decided to start changing things.
I have a question for you. Because it popped up in the chat. Joshua.
Valencia.
Yes, wanted to know what lodge you're from.
Originally?
Whatever you want to give them is fine with me. I know.
I'll tell them everything. You know, I mean, I'll tell you everything, because one way or another, people are going to know who I am, so that's fine. I was entered past and raised at Alexandria Washington Lodge number 22, which was George Washington's original lodge. I was taught the catechism by Jack Kennard, who was one of the most well-known Masons in Virginia. And I went through the philosophical degrees that are, you know, the quote-unquote higher degrees in ancient accepted Scottish at Alexandria Temple on West Braddock Road. My experience in regular Freemasonry was that it was filled with racism, ignorance, and it was not what I signed up for. What I signed up for was the stuff that I read from Manly Palmer Hall, from Albert Pike. Albert Pike, of course, when he writes his books, he doesn't ever talk about his racism. You know, he discovered that months later. You know, but my experience was fairly negative in that. Now, there were good brothers. Jack Kennard was an amazing brother. Okay, somebody very much opposed to racism, but the racism was just rampant. At Alexandria Washington Lodge number 22, I was told by Jack Kennard himself that there was one black member of the lodge, and that black member of the lodge had originally been blackballed.
Wow.
He was blackballed for no good reason. The man had a good job. He had, I think he had even served in the military. And the Grand Master of Virginia, when he saw that, you know, because they're always, they want to, nowadays, it's from the 90s on, the majority white lodges, they want their token black members, you know, so you can turn around and say, look, we're not racist, we've got 3 black guys out of the 200 members of our lodge, right? I tell it like it is. That's what they do. So the Grand Master of Virginia stepped in because he was like, wait a minute, you know, why wouldn't they let this guy in? So he came in and he sent a message to the lodge and he said, look, tell whoever it is that blackballed this man that I want to meet with them privately to know why it is that they felt that he shouldn't be a member. And if nobody comes forward, I'm going to go ahead and override that vote. And he did. And so the man actually joined the lodge and became one of the brothers of the lodge. But the thing that here's my point of view. Why would you want to join a lodge that when you get members that hate you so much simply because of your race, they didn't want to let you in to their little social club, right? So I made a really hard choice when I was in California, because it wasn't until I was in California that I made the choice to leave, to formally leave, because I kind of like pulled a fade out from regular Freemasonry, and they kind of, you know, they said that, okay, your dues are overdue, whatever. They had like, you know, they kick you out, but at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, you write them back and say, hey, I want you back in, I, you know, want to pay my dues. So, oh, yeah, sure, no problem, they'll let you back in, you know, especially now with like fading membership and everything. But, and I was considering that when I first moved out to California. And a strange thing happened, you know, like I was telling you, I started researching, you know, progressive Freemasonry because a friend of mine who had been a former dervish brother in one of the Sufi orders that I had been a part of, right, had become involved with the Grand Orient USA, and I was like, oh my God, that's an irregular order, it's an illegitimate order of Freemasonry, you know, what are we going to do? Oh my God, I have to talk to him, this is not good, this is terrible. And that's how I started going down the rabbit hole, and I started realizing that, wait a minute, it's not illegitimate at all, it's an alternate form of Freemasonry. It actually makes up the majority of Freemasonry in many countries. And the more that I found out about that, the more that I realized that that's where I wanted to be. That's what I wanted. That was the Freemasonry that I was looking for. I was looking for a gathering of men and women who were illuminated, who saw more light, who actually understood the esoteric rituals, who actually understood the history, the philosophy behind the evolution of Freemasonry, and could discuss it from many different perspectives. That's what I was looking for, and that's what I found in that quote-unquote irregular progressive Freemasonry. So that's why I went, and I started going down that path, and a lot of different things started happening at once. I also became involved with the ancient primitive rite of Memphis Mizraim through Alan Greenfield, who was an old friend, because we had both been, many years ago, we had both been in Ordo Templi Orientis, Crowley's order, right, which OTO itself evolved from the ancient primitive rite of Memphis Mizraim. It used to be a Masonic order in Germany for men and women. And the ancient primitive rite of Memphis Mizraim is, you know, it's the most confusing and complicated of rites. It has so many different little twists to the history that you can look on 2 or 3 different orders and they have a slightly different version of the history of the rite. But you know, that's why I went, and that's what fascinated me, because it's the most complete rite. It's the one that's made up of the most degrees, the most teachings, and it's the elite synthesis of what esoteric Freemasonry is. So that's where I went.
So my
what I was saying about the rite of emulation is that that's the rite they use in their symbolic lodges in the UGLE. And I actually have the degrees. I've got a book with the degrees, the rituals, you know, for the symbolic degrees and the rite of emulation. And I've got another book that you'd also love, because it's an interpretation, a rather esoteric interpretation of the meanings within these rituals, and it is specifically the meanings of rituals of the rite of emulation symbolic degrees. Now, I think this brother was going through the you know, the full scale of all the degrees, not just the symbolic degrees. He was going to all these, like, the red degree and the blue degree, and I was like, oh, they got the rainbow for the flavors. It's very interesting. But I'm trying to find, it's hard to find a listing of all the degrees of the rite of emulation. So it would be nice if the brother can say, hey, here's a website that has all the degrees of the rite of emulation. Now, anyway, we gotta fix up it. What's going on with that tree? I never saw it.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I'm not gonna sit here and BS you about that. It's actually done. I just haven't done my part and send it to you. That's no lie.
No worries.
That's no lie.
I know. Trust me, I get all caught up like that too. I'm working on rewriting the ritual monitor we're getting ready to set up lodges in the Philippines. We've got a number of brothers who are with another progressive order out there, and we're probably going to form a true humanity with them as well, you know. And they're getting ready to set up a big lodge and start initiating people out there that have that expanded to a grand lodge probably for the next year or two.
Hey, believe it or not, over in the Philippines, they have 4 different grand lodges.
Oh yeah, at least. They've got, and one of them is, they've got one that's founded by the Grand Lodge de France. And I've talked to a couple of brothers in that Grand Lodge, and I actually said to one of the brothers, I said, you know, I'm going to put you in touch with my old obedience in California, you know, right? What used to be the Gran Loca Hispana until the whole snafu happened, you know, with, Victor Serna, you know, and he wanted to, he kind of like formed a rival, Gran Loca Hispana, and then there were 2 Gran Loca Hispanas, and nobody knew what was going on. They both had the same seal, very confusing. And now they constituted it under the name of the, I believe it's called, it's got a really, really long name, but it's like, basically it comes down to the meaning is something like the most worshipful Grand Lodge of the ancient accepted Scottish Rite of the Americans, or something like that. And I love that name a lot better, because I think it's much better than the old name. I never liked the Gran Loca Hispana in North America. I never liked that name. Because first of all, the U.S. is not North America. It's just one country in North America. You know?
Wait a minute. Repeat that one over again. That the way the Spanish said, North America. Repeat that one again.
I believe it's called Benemérita Gran Logia de Ritos Cosas Antiguos y Aceptado de las Américas. I think that's the name. It's something about Gran Logia de Ritos Cosas Antiguos y Aceptado de las Américas. It's something like the Grand Lodge. It's basically the Grand Lodge of the ancient accepted Scottish Rite of the Americans in Spanish. Right?
Okay.
And that's what was originally the Gran Logia Hispana. You know, and they've got 8 or 9 or 10 lodges in the U.S. I don't know. You'd have to ask David, but I think they opened up a couple more lodges. And I think David hasn't been so involved anymore. He's taken a step back. And
wait a minute. How did you know my brother took a step back?
Well, I know because we talk every once in a while. You know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. He did take a step back. However, he did say if they needed him for assistance, he will aid and assist.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's David. You know, of course he's going to be there. I mean, you know, he's as dependable as they come. You know?
He is.
And that order, the thing is, when they reconstituted, like when they rechartered it, right? When it was rechartered, rechartered by the Grand Lodge de France. You know, which is the second biggest obedience of France. The biggest obedience, of course, the Grand Order de France.
I was, and that's the thing. When I talk to Page Grand, I'm giving him his respect, Page Grand Master. When I talked with him in regards to that situation, I told him, this is what I told him. I said, you should not leave or take a step back, because your people, your Hispanic brothers, your Latino brothers, they need someone like you. They need a jurisdiction they need that jurisdiction. And I told him. And he looked, he was like, I was like, yeah, bro, that's true. That's real.
Hands, to be honest, because I've had some conversations with the brothers who are involved now in the Grand Lodge, and they're definitely good brothers. He's left in good hands. I think it's just that as a human being, he was just being spread too thin. You know, just too many different places. And he lives kind of out, doesn't David live out like outside, like with the LA? Did he even move out to like the Inland Empire? I'm pretty sure he lives out like near Redlands or something. He's like way out there. He's not really too close to LA anymore. So it doesn't really surprise me that he took a step back. From that, it's got to be draining just to drive in and out, and then plus you do a lodge, plus you're working this, plus you're doing that, plus he was involved with a couple of other projects also. He's still involved with a couple of other projects out closer to where he lives.
Right.
So, I can totally understand that. but they are, you know, but in the Philippines, and I was like, wow, you guys should form True Humanity. And David's Grand Lodge, I wanted to tell, and I reached out to David because the other brother is kind of like, I talk to him once in a blue moon, but he kind of doesn't check his messages that often. He's one of these people, like, you send him a message, and like 2 months later, he answers you, you know? So the conversation doesn't exactly flow. But there's an international organization with all of these Scottish Rite Grand Lodges, right? All of these Grand Lodges that practice the 3 degrees in the ancient accepted Scottish Rite, like Pike's ritual, you know, Porch in the Middle Chamber, those rituals, they practice those in the first 3 degrees. And they are not allied at all with the United Grand Lodge of England. They're an independent organization, but with, I think, at least a couple dozen Grand Lodges. I saw the website once, with at least a couple different Grand Lodges from around the world, all of them practicing the ancient accepted Scottish Rite. I've also been doing some research into the Rite of Cerno, because in the U.S., if you look at the Cernoism, right, it pitches it as this illegitimate form of Freemasonry, right? Despite the fact that it was the Rite of Cerno that actually blended with the ancient accepted Scottish Rite, and they became the northern jurisdiction of the U.S.
You said the Rites of Cerno?
You know?
What was that rite called? You said the Rites of Cerno?
The Rite of Cerno, the original, it was 25 degrees, right?
Okay, I got you. I'm with you. Yes.
That's the one that then evolves, and under Joseph Cerno, kind of, well, it was called the Rite of Perfection, right? And then Joseph Cerno, I believe, is the one who elevated it to 33 degrees. And this is where the story gets really hazy. It's like, well, did Joseph Cerno elevate it to 33 degrees, copying the ancient accepted Scottish Rite, or did the ancient accepted Scottish Rite copy them? Or what's going on there? It's really hazy, because if we start looking at what was the original Rite of Perfection, what was the original ancient accepted Scottish Rite, and it's one of these things where it seems like they're pretty much the same rite. They just eventually blend it all together, you know? And I'm doing research on that specifically because the Rite of Cerno and the ancients of the Scottish Rite predate ancient from the Rite of Memphis.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first 33 degrees definitely came to the Rite of Memphis from the Rite of Perfection / Rite of Cerno / ancient accepted Scottish Rite. Right? That's where those 33 degrees come from. Now, there's a Grand Mixed Lodge in France. There's a Grand Mixed Lodge of Cerno, and I want to get in touch with those brothers, because they say on there that they practice the 25 degrees, but then you count the degrees they've got on the website, there's 30.
Oh,
like,
okay.
What's going on here?
They just added the 5 more for flavor, I guess.
I don't know, but it's just really weird, because they're saying the original rite with the 25 degrees and all, but I think the cool thing about them is I think they practice all of the degrees. They initiate each and every one of them, whereas in most cases, most people do not initiate all of the degrees and the philosophical degrees of the ancient accepted Scottish Rite. Right? Once you get to the 4th degree, it's kind of like the 4th, 7th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 13th, 14th, 13th being, 13th is not practiced in the ancient accepted Scottish Rite in the U.S. because the 13th is the Royal Arch, right? And they practice at the York Rite. But that's why I consider the York Rite the most pointless rite in Freemasonry, because the only real degree of any worth in the York Rite is the Royal Arch, and you find that in the ancient accepted Scottish Rite anyway, so what's the point of the York Rite? It's pretty pointless. Unless you talk about those silly knighthood degrees where they all look like extras from, Gilbert and Sullivan's H.M.of Pinafore, the happy little Napoleon type hats that they wear and all that. I've always found those kind of funny looking, but whatever,
That's he said, well, that's funny stuff. I would say this. I would say this, even in my own jurisdiction, the way that we changed our dress code as far as the way the Knights Templars are dressed here in the United States versus the way we chose to change up. So we chose to go with the capes with the red cross on it for our Knights Templar, with the sword instead of the chapeau, the black uniform, the whole thing.
I like that. I like that a lot. And that's the way it should be. It's a much more traditional feel for the Knight Templar order. I mean, yeah, that look that the U.S. has of the Knights Templar, it's just, I don't know. I was talking to Ancient Noir about it. He said, well, I think it's because it was formed around the Victorian time, so it's kind of this. And I said, is that what they look like?
Look, let's be truthful. That uniform looks more like a military Confederate uniform.
Well, you know what? It looks actually like a traditional British uniform. Have you ever seen A.M.of, the musical, the Gilbert Sullivan musical?
I have not. I may have to go look at it now.
Look it up. They look just like that. That's what it looks like. Here. I'll put it on there for us.
Yeah, definitely. I would say this. One brother put, I can't afford to join every appending bodies. And I would say none of us can. However, depends on the structure of your jurisdiction.
Yeah, like my order, we have all these secret orders, which is essentially the way the ancient primitive Memphis Misraim functions, right? It's actually, the way that it was designed is kind of like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? The ancient primitive Memphis Misraim is actually an occult order. It's an occult rite. That's what it is. It's a magical rite. It's for the practice of magic.
Hold on, back up. You're saying too much, because a lot of people ain't gonna believe what you're saying. And ain't is not supposed to be in a dictionary, but it's there. But a lot of people are not going to really get what you just said. Please repeat that.
Okay. The ancient primitive rite of Memphis Misraim is the only reason that it's a Masonic rite is in order to enable the members of the rite to network with other men and women in Masonic orders and the other Masonic orders worldwide, specifically with men and women in other esoteric Masonic rites, such as the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite, which is an esoteric rite, the Rite of Swedenborg, and possibly the Bavarian Rite, although the Bavarian Rite is not that widely practiced. We have a lineage of it. Others also have lineages of it. I know we have treaties with two other orders that follow the Bavarian Rite, the Rite of the Illuminati. But it's something that is not really practiced in regular Freemasonry, and for good reason, because the whole emphasis of the Rite and the Order of the Illuminati was what? To restructure the status quo. And the whole emphasis of regular Freemasonry is what? To put everybody under the hold of the status quo. It's two opposite agendas.
Now go back. You mentioned about the primitive rites being magical or yes.
Is something else. The primitive rite is there are two or three different primitive rites. There's a primitive rite that involved, and there's one that's mentioned in Mexico in the writings of Ricardo Fogo, and there's a copy of the ritual I have in Spanish, and that is an older rite, and it's one of these rites with a short number of degrees. It is not the ancient primitive rite. The ancient primitive rite is what evolved from Cagliostro's rite, and then it takes the first 33 degrees from the ancient accepted rite of Cervelle, or the ancient accepted Scottish rite, and from there it builds up, taking on other degrees and other teachings from Masonic rites, and even the Order of Martinism, for example, is showcased. in one of, I think it's the 54th degree, I think it is, one of the degrees in ancient in perfect rite of Memphis. It's actually the initiations of the Marcus order. Which is why Robert M. Belen, although people are like, oh, well, why did M. Belen bring Martinism into ancient perfect rite of Memphis Mizraim? Well, these people don't know, obviously, the ancient perfect rite of Memphis Mizraim, because if they looked at the degrees, they would realize that it's in there. Like Ragu, right? Back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, the ancient perfect rite of Memphis Mizraim, it basically functions as a set of outer gateways to guard the inner secret orders, right? So it functions as a set of outer gateways to guard all these inner secret orders of sort of Martinism, and then its innermost order, the order of the Cohen. Some orders, some APRMM orders will also have the Rosicrucian order in there, or another form of practice magic. We use the Sangreal Sodality within our own order as the magical order that we like, because the Sangreal Sodality blends really, really well with the idea of Gnosticism and the Gnostic Church. It blends really well with the idea of esoteric Templarism, and it's a very non-invasive, open, spiritual form of right-hand path magic that works really, really well.
Well, see, the thing is that a lot of people don't, because they're not familiar with the degrees, and there's a lot of different degrees out there, a lot of initiations and various of rites. And because they're not familiar with them, especially on the state side, they consider those degrees either clandestine or whatever. But from my own personal experience in looking at these degrees and being initiated into some of them, I find them highly not only educational, but when you talk about magic and stuff like that. Hold on just a second.
Well, the whole thing about clandestine is funny because...
Hold on, bro. Greetings. Who's calling?
Hey, Tony.
Yeah. Who am I speaking with?
It's good hearing from you again. I can barely hear you. I can't hear you whatsoever. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. Hold 1 second. Let me get you.
I can hear you loud and clear. Somebody else was calling in there, bro. But go ahead and finish up.
What I was going to say was, it's funny that they should talk about ancient Memphis Mizraim being clandestine, because all the boys in the Grand College of Rites practice it.
Yes, they do. But this is the thing.
Ronnie Capello went out to the French, and here's where it's funny, because when you read M. Belen's writings, eventually the course by Pierce Vaughn, who was a part of the Grand College of Rites, who wrote the book, and thanks Ronnie Capello on his translations, right, the introduction. But when you read the writings of Robert M. Belen, from the rituals to the books written about Martinism and other facets of Freemasonry, it seems that M. Belen had a preference for regularity over the progressive tradition.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but yeah, he preferred the idea that politics are not discussed, that women join something else. He preferred it, and you look at the original rituals, they're all masculine rituals. I'm talking about brother this, brother that, but there's never any sisters mentioned. The degrees, when you're initiated through them, they give you the other pair of white gloves, so that when you have a lady and and she becomes your wife, give her these gloves, blah blah blah. So it's not a mixed order at all. And then it eventually evolves into that, but originally it was not. M. Belen seemed to be leaning closer to the regular tradition in many ways, which is funny, because then Ronnie Capello of the Grand College of Rites went over to France, and he convinced the French consecrate him as a Gnostic bishop and all this and that, right? So they did. And then he came to the U.S. and supposedly he was going to expand the rite here. He built a few lodges, never really did much with them. Initiated all his boys at the Grand College of Rites. And I know this because I've heard it from 3 different sources who are all ex-members of the Grand College of Rites, so I know it's true. So they've all told me, yeah, we were all initiated with degrees.
But see, that's the craziest. That's the craziest thing when you mention those particular degrees. And I know they exist because it's on their website. But when you're talking about culturally,
yeah, but they lie about that because they make it sound like, oh, we have the degrees, but nobody's allowed to practice them. We are not allowed to practice them. It's clandestine to practice them. You can only read them, and it's so stupid. It's like you can read them, but you can't practice them. And then there's this other group that's formed, inspired by the Grand College of Rites, where they pass the degrees through communication. So you receive the stupidest thing. You receive the degrees through communication, right? But how do you receive a 66th degree through communication? You can't. The 66th degree is Gnostic consecration. You have to be consecrated as a bishop. It has to be hands-on. It's a laying of hands ceremony. You can't do it any other way. The other higher degrees, the 87 through 90, maybe you can do it through communication, but it's esoteric communication anyway, because these are the foundations of magic. The Arcana Arcanorum of the Rite of Mizraim, which make up 87, 88, 89, and 90 of the APRMF, right? Because the Rite of Memphis has its own 87 through 90 degrees, and what the Rite of Memphis Mizraim does is it takes the top 4 degrees of the Rite of Mizraim, the 90 degree chain, right? And it superimposes those top 4 degrees, 87, 88, 89, and 90, onto the 87, 88, 89, and 90 of the ancient prayer of Memphis Mizraim. So it takes out 87 and 90 of Memphis and replaces them with Mizraim. That's why it's Memphis Mizraim, because the 87 and 90 are considered not just the last 4 degrees and the crown of the whole system, but they are considered, for whatever reason, the synthesis of all the previous degrees. That's why they're in there like that.
oh, okay.
You're going back to the Rite of Memphis.
Okay. Well, you know what? The stuff you just spit out, man, is beautiful only because a lot of us don't get an opportunity to hear it from that point of view that you're bringing tonight, especially when you bringing an educational part to it and you're talking in regards to the primitive rites and how it got to be, how it came to be, and how it formulates for Freemasonry and that whole thing. A lot of brothers don't get that opportunity to hear it coming from that point of view. And I just want to tell you, you know, you and I, we talk when we talk, you know, because we both have families and things like that.
We get into these things, and a lot of the brothers have question marks going on with that. Freemasons are asleep on the Nazca Alliance, one of the earliest forms of applied geometry. Actually, I'm Peruvian, so I know about the Nazca Alliance. I've been there. I've seen them, flown over them. And the little Cessna that does the tour when you fly over the Nazca Alliance. The Nazca Alliance are amazing. You know that there's one design on there, they call it the astronaut, and it basically looks like the guy with a big bubble head.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if you heard me. I said the Nazca Alliance, right, which essentially look like a huge landing pad.
Right.
For extraterrestrials, right?
Uh-huh.
Which is funny because when you go to the museum near there, the museum has all these ridiculous ideas of how they were built. They're like, oh, look, they made ancient flying balloons, and the guys on the flying balloons were yelling down directions at the guys 2,000 feet down to move the rocks to the right place so that they can come on, man, give me a break. It's much more believable just to be like, okay, you know what? Definitely not done by ancient people on their own. It could be. Because when you stand there, right, I mean, these boulders are like, they're huge. And if you stand there, you can't see the design. The design has to be, you have to be at least a couple of thousand feet up in the air to see the design.
Well, I'm going to send you a big shout out. Brother Debo Taylor told me to make sure I send you a shout out.
Oh, my brother from Illinois, Debo.
Yes, that's Debo.
I got to give him a call, man. I love Debo. We talk from time to time. You know, he's a great brother. Yeah, Debo, you know I love you, man.
Yeah, he said, make sure I give you a shout out. So I'm making sure I do that.
That's my homie right there.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And but see, that's the beauty.
I got much love for all you guys.
And
for everybody in this group, all you guys out there in the John G. Jones Grand Lodge, and my brother Devo, of course, he helps me run things in my order. And he is a very knowledgeable brother. His order that you originally came through, he went through the Entered Apprentice Fellowcraft Master Mason degrees in the ancient Scottish Rite.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Debo, we wanted to have that conversation, man. You didn't tell me that one.
He did the symbolic degrees in that, so we were talking about that one time. As a matter of fact, we were talking about the name of Pike's book, and it was Brother Debo who brought up this really, really interesting point. He goes, that's what he called it.
Yes, hold on just a second, okay?
Sure.
Can you hear me all right?
Greetings, Brother Tony Muhammad.
Yeah.
Brother Tony Muhammad. See, I knew I didn't call it late. You started, my ideal plan started shutting down at a certain time.
I tell you what time is it where you at right now?
I'm here in South Africa. It's 156. I think I'm 9 hours ahead.
Go ahead. Hold on, Brother Manuel. What do you got to talk to me right now? Brother Man, you want to hold on? You want to call back? Because it looks like I'm going to be on here for a few minutes tonight.
No, I can let you go, bro. It's all good. Just let's reconvene privately at some point so we can continue the thing about the trees and get those done by next weekend, God willing.
That sounds like a plan. Hey, I appreciate you. Blessings to you in your jurisdiction.
Likewise, brother. Many blessings to you and your family. And as you say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, right?
That's it.
Take care, bro.
Take care. All right. Go ahead. Talk to me, man.
Brother Tony Muhammad.
Go. You.
Y'all love me on the 30-30 in Africa. First of all, my wife and a brother of mine, they encouraged me to call you and say, go in there, lift them up a little bit, and pull back out. And now we're going to the, and by the way, I'm entering your gate with humility. I'm not speaking it from the west. I'm greeting you at the east, but I'm rising above both north and south.
Okay. All right.
I want to give you something. We all love you here in Africa.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Brother Tony, if you would give me permission, I want to give you this gift. And remember, my wife and I can extend ourselves to you and your wife soon, brother. A lot of things have been happening here in Africa and around the world, as you know, with COVID, things of that nature. So give us a moment, because we have two members from different esoteric societies, two other couples that we like that we're bringing here as well.
Okay.
You and your wife are definitely on the list, because we certainly appreciate what you do. And just continue doing what you're doing. It's going to pay off for you. You got an edge around you. You got people that protect you. You got people that look out for you that you don't even know. But let me give you this. Brother Tony, no matter what person comes on talking to you, when there are forces that see you interacting with Brother Melvin Little, when they see you interacting with Brother Fahim Knight, when they see you interacting with brothers from the 5% Nation, and you embracing the Minister Farrakhan, you're doing more than you know. You and Melvin Little were never supposed to be friends. And that's part.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Time out. You got to back it up. Repeat that again. You said me and Brother Melvin Little was never to be friends?
Let me explain to you. It's beautiful that you are friends.
I'm listening.
You being friends with him, you don't know. Aside from you embracing John G. Jones, aside from you embracing Brother Banks from International Modern Free, his people, you and Melvin Little, you got to understand, that's a Berber. Fahim Knight, those are Berbers. Those are brothers with the original science. So you being a different type of Moors than this. Look at Melvin Little's features and look at your features. Don't you see there's a difference? Yeah, you both are black men, but there's something deeper there, brother, that you're not seeing. And so when the powers that so-called beat you and Melvin Little together, they know you don't understand what you're breaking. But you're breaking something that's very evil. And that's why we love you so much here. You see, you go back to that Buffalo Soldiers, those Mali Moors that came in under that. You've never asked yourself where the Buffalo Soldiers came from. When you go to the Carolinas and you see words like Catawba, like the Catawba River. You go to Florida and you see a city called Tallahassee. When you clearly see the word Allah in the word Tallahassee. Or when you go to Alabama and you see Alabama. They know that you don't know when you go to North Carolina and you see a town called Winston-Salem. Salem is similar to Salam. You don't understand that those people that you're cohorting with are the ancient Berbers. But that Caucasian that you're seeing, they know. He knows you don't know who they are. And he knows you don't know that they were supposed to be separated from you. You see, when you go back to the Catawba Indians or you go to the Cherokee Indians, doesn't that word Catawba seem kind of strange? Doesn't the word Cherokee seem kind of strange to you?
Yeah.
The Berbers, they were renamed. They're the ones who brought science to the coast. When you're talking to those brothers in the UK, they have such respect for who you are being in the West because they know you have unique travel. The Hiram of this travel to the North Country is only indicative to you and Melvin Little and those that you've been embracing. Everybody else is simply an imitation. That's why imitation is so accepted in Freemasonry. When you're going through all your rituals, you're simply imitating somebody else.
That's true.
That it was the black man who was in the head in private school, whether it was born. That's basic. There was nobody else but the black man who went through that. And because he was hit on the head in prison on the Western Court, the whole world knows, including those brothers in the UK, they know that you, Melvin Little, and those of your foes have a special travel. You always can tell a man who he is by where he travels. Look at Elijah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We hear the mystery system knows that man is. And the mystery system is ancient. We produce Freemasonry. The sun, moon, and star precedes the compass and square. The sun, moon, and star is the original compass and square. So let's look at travel. How do we know that Indians come from black people? Well, when you look at travel, okay, we know we travel by stars on the spiritual plane or the earth plane, but we travel by seas and land on the square plane. So how do we know that Indians come from black people? All you got to do is look at East Africa and look at how the currents take you up into India. Somalians look just like Indians. Why? Because that's where Indians come from. Now let's look at those Chinese and see where they travel from. Well, if you go down to southern Africa and you see the Khoisan people, they're small to medium height, men with slant eyes, and they're light skinned. 35,000 years ago, they traveled up from the Sahara by way of worldwide currents into Asia, creating what you call the Chinese man. But at one time, he was just as black as you are. So you got to understand. And grafting was involved, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad puts it, that helped to bring them into what they look like today. But you got to understand where they came from. If you look at the Indians, you see that it comes from the Somalians. You see that it comes from the Ethiopians. They don't deny that. They just know you don't know that. So all of life comes from the black man. You see it just in travel. When you look at Brazil, I've been to Rio de Janeiro many times. You go over to Brazil, why do all Brazilians that are black look like they come from West Africa. Well, because that's where the worldwide trade winds travel. Why? How did Raheem Knight and Melvin's little people get to Carolinas and Georgia? How? Those worldwide trade winds that take you from North Africa into the Carolinas. All Marines and all of those that are in military science know those worldwide trade winds. Now look, you go to the mid-1800s. Who was the United States fighting? They were fighting in the Berber War. What does America do when she's fighting your people? When she was fighting Japanese, did she put the Japanese that were in America in concentration camps?
Sure did.
Yeah. So of course she did. So who do you think she locked up and treated like shit when she was fighting the Berbers of North Africa in the 1800s? She treated the Berbers that were already there. Who do you think she littered the landscape with bodies during the Trail of Tears? They were not Indians. I mean, that was the thing they hated. Those are the mothers and fathers of Freemasonry. They set them on the Trail of Tears because when you take over a man's identity, you can't keep him around. Elijah Muhammad told you that two opposites can't keep the same space at the same time. George Washington just knew that when they got the Berbers out of place, they were going to take Freemasonry, and they had to get the original authors of Freemasonry off the set. So they left the South and they went into the Midwest, building pyramids along the Nile, along the Mississippi. They just did the same stuff they were doing in North Africa, man.
And it's funny you say that because I've read some books that says the Mississippi is the Nile of the Nile of the North or the West.
It is the Nile of the North Country.
Yes.
You notice it travels from south and travels upstream just like the Nile.
It sure does.
You have to understand those are brother countries, but it goes deeper than that. When I noticed the conversation you were having with some of your brothers in Texas, and I love those brothers who spoke about the idea of the planet being a kaleidoscope type thing. When I told you that the sun shines from within the earth outward, I was hoping you didn't take that the wrong way and discontinue anything else I said to you.
No, bro. Hey, it makes a person, well, when someone is having a conversation and individuals are not sure what the other person is trying to convey, it should make you go back, listen and research and have a better understanding of the totality of the conversation.
That's right.
That's what it does for me, because when you said the sun that's in us is reflected on outside of us, and that's what you see. And it's right. This is why we was talking once before, and we say a person can have what they call an internal explosion. They can just blow up because of the brightness and the energy that one takes and carries.
Exactly. You got it. So you having the knowledge that all life travels from you and that you are the original Mason. The compass is square is yours. England knows that. That's why they tell you that we're speculators. That's why when you visit many of their lodges, you see reflections of the black man being the mother and father of this planet.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I no longer, and I said this before, I no longer consider myself a speculative Mason.
You're not.
But see,
you're not.
But see, you can't tell most people on in the West, the United States, you can't tell them that if they're practicing Mason, because that's what they're told. They're told that you're a speculative Mason. Go look up the word speculative and then go visit some of these other places, and you will come to find that you are not speculative. I'm just saying, I don't consider myself a speculative Mason because I know where it comes from. I know what it is.
You could never be a speculative Mason and break the way you embrace. Speculative Masons, they run and hide why when you look at the pharaohs, why did the Priest of Amen assassinate Akhenaten, King's father? They assassinated him because they didn't want him to teach Islam, which he was calling Atheism. He didn't want the Priest of Amen who were them. They were people who were mixed with the Phoenician seed, which you call India, and they were people mixed with the Greek seed, which you call Caucasian. Well, when they came into North Africa, they knew it. And the only way they can conquer is to have people thinking a Christian mentality. I'm not speaking of Christian science. I'm talking about the idea of allow your enemy to run amok over you in the name of God.
Right.
In order for a weaker man to do that, the Caucasian man is not built like you. If we can deal in science, he is your brother, but he is a recessive brother, and he knows that. So this has nothing to do with white or black. White Masons can't even keep their own household together. So building somebody else's and claiming ownership of what we know here in the mystery system, the UCLE will be respected by this organization as long as they consider to call themselves what they are. They are speculators and nothing more. When Elijah Muhammad left his Masonic lodge and he embraced what was being taught to him, he was telling you, I am still a Mason, however, I understand the science that belongs to me. The rituals that you travel first, second, and third degree, that's great. That's your base. Then again, you've got the tapestry understanding of what happened 56 trillion years ago when this planet separated from the moon. The moon is definitely out there. Okay? And when you don't understand how that moon separates, you'll understand why the UCLE have within their Grand Lodge at the top of a dome a reflection or a picture of the universe. Because at one time, the moon and the planet, the moon and the earth itself was together. And when it was discharged, a whole new thing was created on this planet. Because what was once liquid became solid and things of that nature. You had diffusions, effusions, all kinds of explosions going on as the moon was separated from the earth. And thus you get a star, a set. You get man, it's just late here.
Hey, it's almost 2 a.m. I appreciate you chopping it up, to be honest with you. What I want to do is actually have you to come on and just do a whole segment. That's what I want to do. We just got to get the time down.
We will, Brother Tony.
Let
me say, there's a couple things I want to do for you, man. But one of the things I want to do for you is give you. And if I can't do that, I just want to make we want to make a donation to you or something. But we want you to come here to the continent because we would like to talk to you. Look, let me say something to you also in reference to your adopted tribe in Africa. The Igbo tribe. I don't know if you know, but the younger Igbo are something special, man. They're taking over a lot of industry throughout the world. And I want you to understand also the Igbo people are very, very instrumental in modern Freemasonry. I could go on and on to their contribution, but they have a direct contribution that I don't care to discuss here to Freemasonry.
Okay.
And they're some of the sharpest business people, brother. So one of the things you should do is you need to stay in touch with some of them as best you can. But we would like to invite you on this side as well to show you what we do. You understand the power of burning incense. That's your sacred right. That goes back to your great grandparents, and those were sciences that were attended. We taught the Templars at the Vatican that. We also taught process of birth they're behind. So there's no way in the world they're going to claim Freemasonry as theirs. They know better than that. They don't want you to understand how the waters travel in your relationship to that, because then the gig is up. See, you got enough brothers around you. Now, look at the Balance Society. You go to their website and you look at those men who are a member of the Balance Society. When I sit here with 12 young men in their 20s and 30s, and they say, I noticed none of these men glow. None of these men of the Balance Society with the shade, no disrespect to them, none of them glow. You on many occasions don a glow on your skin. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan dons a glow on his skin. Everybody in the mystery system has a glow on his skin. Every black Rosicrucian I know has a glow. Everybody that I know that understands the true science has a glow about them. Everybody in the private society, you can tell they drink and smoke. You can tell if they don't drink and smoke that they used to drink and smoke a lot. So those are not people that have the right to investigate anybody in terms of their Masonic origins. When you find out the relationship between Prince Hall and the Buffalo Soldiers and how they refused to step into Freemasonry,
I'm going to say this. I'm going to share this with you, and you're speaking and saying a lot that of some things that have just occurred in my life, and I'm going to cut it short. We've been on here for about 2 hours, but I'm going to share this with you. I had a reading by a high priestess done a few days ago, and she said some things that you are actually saying now, and I'm listening to her. I'm like, oh, okay, you know. That's good. She's told me I have some things that I have to do because my ancestors wanted more from me. So I'm on this mission to make sure that I provide what they need in regards to what she was saying. But it was a unique reading. I would encourage those brothers of the craft, and including sisters of the order, go get you a personal reading from a high priestess. None of that crazy stuff, but someone who's legitimately involved with reading. And she said a lot of stuff that I was like, okay, you know, for me, I'm like, wow, you know, I had that wow moment, and I just wanted to share that.
Well, if you remember 5 months ago, I asked you clearly, when we had Brother Lindsay on and a few other people, I asked you if you had gotten a reading, or if you had gotten a reading.
You did.
And that's very important. And there are not too many Freemasonic brothers that I've ever traveled with in the United States and here, Scottish Rite including, a 33-degree Scottish Rite, that many of them won't get a head reading. And something of that nature, every Freemason should have a head reading to understand how energy is, because they're very powerful. But I hope she told you what you're doing is grand in terms of you. You see, there was a lot of pain created between your family and Melvin Little's family long ago, Tony. And you mending that, Tony. You don't even know it.
Look, that's gonna be that part. We're gonna have to talk offline on that. If you got a few more minutes, let me log off and we're gonna continue our conversation. You got a minute? Look.
Why don't we do it another time?
I'm fine with that. I mean,
I'm gonna stay on.
But you gotta let me know what it's like for you, because it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning where you at.
Yeah, it's 2:19.
So I tell you what. Why don't we come back on Wednesday?
That's very good.
Or next Saturday. Or we could do it next Saturday.
That's even better.
Next Saturday, we're about a 9-hour difference. If I came on at 9 o'clock my time, it'll be about 9 o'clock your time on the PM.
Oh, that's fine. That's real respectful of you.
Yeah, let's do that. Then it doesn't be so late for you or too early for me.
All right.
Oh yeah, the name of the show is going to be Walking Through the Valley of Death.
I'll be ready. You know what? I guarantee at the end of the show, we both are gonna be. So look, man, continue doing what you do. We all know you're doing good. And brother, let me tell you, everybody got your back. They're gonna try to make you take that shot, and I hope you don't take it.
Man, bro, they pushing it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna
cover that too, because there's answers to that. Don't worry about it. You cover it. Look, man, I'm gonna talk to you later. Thank you so much, brother. And you be well. You and your family, please be well.
I appreciate that. Thank you for calling. Yeah, it was my brother from Africa calling in. You know, he be shooting that stuff to me, man. I gotta listen to what the brother is saying. But look, I'm about to go. I've been on here for quite a minute. Oh, 2:12. Ooh, I want to say thank you to everyone who came on. You stayed with us. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you. Much love to you. And as always, stay out the bushes, keep your light on. And till we meet again, peace and be well. Blessings to your family as well as mine. Thank you.